Hi everyone, my name is Eduardo Garzadilla, and I will be giving recommendations on production budget, genres, and runtime for the movies that you hope to release. First, what we looked at was the return on investments and the relationship between ratings and production budget. Then we wanted to look at the different genres and if there was an extension in terms of the association with ratings and associated return on investments. Afterwards, we wanted to increase the study to include runtimes that could be within a good given range based on not only production budgets, but the return on investments as well. Then we will extend this study to look at the expected competition from 2010 to 2014 versus 2015 to 2019. And finally, give our recommendations. Overall, the relationship between ratings and ROI doesn't have a clear correlation. However, when comparing rating ranges, the range between 6 to 8 out of 10 tends to give higher overall return on investments. It is important to note that we can observe more negative ROIs related to the domestic market, and this means that a focus on an international market could prove more lucrative and be less volatile in terms of return on investments. It seems that for the domestic ROI, any production budget above 200 million sees diminishing return on investments as well as the largest losses. Therefore, if the primary target were to be domestic with a smaller international release, then it is best to stay within this budget. However, given that the preferred objective is to have a focus on the international market, we would recommend then a production budget up to 300 million as potentially safe for a good return on investment. Then we extended this study to see if there are any genres associated with this ratings. Since we have a rating score in mind, we looked at the average ratings across genres to pick a selected set of genres and analyze their ROI. Here we selected the genres based on an average rating above a 6 out of 10. This includes documentary, biography, music, history, sport, musical, war, drama, animation, family, romance, crime, and adventure films. We then looked at the associated international return on investments, and you can see here that the international markets, which have become our focus, animation, adventure, and family, or a combination of these genres, would have a decent return on investment. Additionally, the top 3 films also had higher domestic ROIs when compared to the other genres. Here we see that animation tops it off at 1.46 billion in USD for average international return on investments. Production budgets to stay within 150 to 300 million USD range gives a good ROI for adventure films, while increased production budgets for the 2 genres usually lead to higher return on investment, with peaks happening anywhere from 500,000 to 200 million in budget. Therefore, we recommend, based off of the adventure films, a 100 to 300 million USD budgets, and making it no less than 500,000 if a combination were to be used, or if our focus was to be an animation or family film. For runtimes, we should stay within 120 minutes. As we can see, for the animation genre, this trend is increased, and for the adventure genre, this trend is increasingly noticeable. This means that as runtime increases, we would expect associated costs to increase, which is expected. For runtime-related decisions, we would recommend a mix of the 3 genres and to stick to a runtime not much longer than 120 minutes, as this is the upper bound for the animation genre. Competition has decreased, and so has ROIs. Here we can see that the number of movies released has been trending downwards, and that while the production budget is increasing or has increased, the return on investments are decreasing. It is important to keep production budgets close to our range, as ROIs have become more volatile. This could due to many reasons, but a major confounding variable is the popularity of streaming services and their effect on movie release success. Overall, we recommend either an animation, adventure, or family film, or a combination of all 3. To stick to a production budget of 150 to 300 million USD, a runtime of 86 to 114 minutes, and no longer than 120 minutes, and we should expect an ROI between 29 to 146 million USD, and a rating average of 6 to 8 points out of 10.